on, everybody? Welcome back to Lineage Break, or Grand Archive, TCG podcast. I am your host, Cam. With me, as always, is Gluey. Hello, Steven.
Hello, Cameron.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening.
And good night.
And good night. All right, we'll see you later. It's been a good show. I've been better, Steven.
Yeah?
I feel like I'm being personally attacked. And and that's what we're going to talk about today.
All right, hold on.
Me being personally attacked.
I think this is a Cam soapbox episode, so maybe I should go grab the soapbox.
No.
Are you gonna get up and start ranting?
I wish. I just,
Why are we personally attacking you?
So today we're in the slow season of Grand Archive, where we are at this point several weeks out from the new set. We have already done our retrospective on the last set. Spoiler season doesn't start for 3 more weeks. 3 weeks, chat. It's so long. 21 days, if you would believe it. But we have gotten a little bit of spoilers here and there for the new set, and they're all warrior cards or fucking ranger cards. Like, there was that one cleric card, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, but all of the cleric cards we've seen are unhingedly good.
Is that true?
Did Counterspell?
All one of them? Well, that one barely counts, right? It's no class bonus. It's just a fucking blue card.
And then the barrier card, right? Nascent barrier or whatever. That card's pretty sick.
But no fucking Kongming cards. I'm saying a lot of F words today. No Kongming cards, which is upsetting, and I feel like I've been personally attacked.
Because she spins with purpose.
It's 'cause we don't know literally anything. It's so tough.
You get bullied, and when you show support behind.
Show
support behind the boy next time, Cameron, and then we'll get the cute girls.
Maybe that's fair.
Because you know that they like to bully you.
I'll have you know though, anecdotally, when we were in ALC spoiler season, I was not doing this much complaining. Because they were showing us a bunch of cleric cards in ALC season, and they were bad.
Yeah.
The cards weren't bad. Like, we didn't know they were bad because we didn't have the context yet, but Ari's bad.
Yeah.
So maybe this is our,
Warrior is bad.
Yeah. Jin is the bad one. Kongming is going to be broken. They're saving her for last, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Some of these warrior cards are kind of nutty.
They're pretty good. We'll talk about that as we go on. But other than that, we've been, same old.
Yeah.
Steve actually played in locals last week. So
I did play. I played in both locals, actually. Yeah. You didn't applaud me on Saturday.
I'm sure I did.
You didn't.
Okay.
He spit in my face. So glad you showed up Friday. Get out of here. Scum.
It's good to be back, though. Aren't you happy that you're playing Grand Archive again, Steven?
Am I? Oh, God.
You get to put him on the spot. Everybody.
He does it every time. Literally every time.
Don't you love Grand Archive,
I
Steven?
do love Grand Archive.
Yeah, all right.
I love this game.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Yeti local or regional or whatever.
Yeah.
The Yeti Weekly. I watched that yesterday.
Thursday, yeah.
I watched Tyler do some casting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who he was with. I didn't tune in at the beginning. I didn't hear.
I'm not a looker.
It didn't say. It just said Yeti Weekly.
Sure.
I couldn't recognize the voice. Sorry if I know you.
Sorry, guy. They have regionals coming up on Sunday. Yeti regionals, which is pretty neat.
I don't do webcam stuff, but I'm thinking about doing that.
I'll believe it when I see it, Steve.
Because
I'll believe it when I see it.
Because I need points this season so I can get gold, because I'm just about there, but not enough. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I think I'm gonna whiff yet again. I'm like pretty close though. I'm like, I don't know, 1400 or something, I think.
You're way higher than I am then.
All right. So today, normally we don't do all of the spoilers for Grand Archive. We tried doing that in the before times, circa FTC.
And it got
it sort of just gets a little bit messy. We only get so many spoilers at a time. And so it's hard to know what we've covered, what we've talked about, what you guys have heard us talk about, et cetera, et cetera. However, basically all we have to talk about right now regarding Grand Archive is spoilers. They did a neat social media event this week where they made a post, and for every X amount of likes, X amount of retweets, whatever they're calling them now, we got a new spoiler, starting with a common, working all the way up to a ultra rare. We have all those to talk about, and we can we'll go over them like pretty briefly, but then we can talk a little bit about, if they're good, what we think they mean. I think with these cards, why I'm so upset is that we can make a lot of, I think, inferences about Jin and about what Jin will do, because we've seen like a reasonable amount of Jin cards. And I wish we could do that for someone else.
She spins with purpose, though.
God knows
I haven't posted
what she does.
my gift. Gotta do that.
So, first on the list, sort of, also worth maybe discussing. We're getting a substantial amount of reprints, it looks like, in
A and B.
A and B. We, for a while, they announced Dungeon Guide a while ago, so we all know that Dungeon Guide's coming. We've been talking about it a lot.
Let me see the art.
Yeah, so Steve, walk with me here. I had this conversation yesterday with our very own Trevor. Do you think I should sell my Dungeon Guides? I'm really thinking about
Your
it.
promo ones?
Yeah. So here's my two schools of thought, right, Steve? And you let me know how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
So school of thought A, there's 65 schools of thought, but I'm just going to give you all of my schools and all of my thoughts.
Okay.
A, they're worth an insane amount of money.
Yes.
And I'm broke.
Yep.
And I have A and B to pay for.
Yep.
And so that sounds nice. So here's the two outcomes that are going to happen, right? I have these promos, and we're at the point where I feasibly probably am not buying foil Dungeon Guides of any that exist right now.
Correct.
The foil promos are too much. Even the alter foils are too much. First ed foils, my lord. But I am a foil enjoyer, and I have a lot of foils for my decks.
Correct.
So we'll get to a point where I will need foil Dungeon Guides, theoretically.
Correct.
And so there is an argument in the favor of buying the new ones and buying them foil. There'll also be the new foiling, I think, is announced. There'll be the new foiling, which is very curl resistant, which is nice. So that sounds pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if that is my plan, and I sell my Dungeon Guides now, and I make a bunch of money, and then the new ones come out, and the art is really cute,
you won't feel bad.
I win.
Right.
However, if I sell them now,
correct,
and I don't like the art of the A and B Dungeon Guide, I am down catastrophic.
Correct.
Like going to Home Depot looking for discount rope.
So,
sort of,
So, there is a world.
Mm.
It's a very small world.
Dungeon Guy.
Dungeon Guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know it's a world that exists.
That is that in one of the multiverse, there is a universe in which Dungeon Guy is a thing.
There's only one universe where we lose.
Yeah.
It's
Dungeon Guy.
It's Dungeon Guy. Yeah. So,
however, I think it's highly unlikely that they print a staple like Dungeon Guide as a boy.
Well, so it's the it's the white border approach, Stephen.
Correct.
Where you print the reprint for accessibility, but you don't want to hurt the collector's value of the old ones, so you make it ugly and nobody wants it.
I'm sorry. When has that happened in Grand Archive?
Well, listen. That's fair.
Please. Every time they've reprinted Fairy Whispers, it gets hotter.
Oh, yeah, it's really good.
Weaponsmith,
she
cute as fuck.
That's true. The old one's cute, too, though.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, they don't... When have they ever gender swapped to a boy? It hasn't happened.
I think literally never, actually.
Right. They've gender swapped all the characters to women.
Yeah.
You know, like Broker, Black Market Broker.
I know.
Went from an ugly boy to a hot girl.
I know it. See, I don't know.
I think you're safe to sell.
Well, at least if you say it, then I can blame it on you.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what I know. That's what you were looking for. You were looking
I'm
for.
angling.
You were looking.
No. Of course, I'm angling for the development team that watches this podcast to send me the art of Dungeon Guide so that I can know. Thanks.
She's like, ding.
but now they can't do it because I've set this this bar that if the art is good, I sell my Dungeon Guides, and then so if anybody sees my post selling Dungeon Guides, they'll be like, oh, well,
That
must mean the art's good, and then the price drops, and they're like, oh, we'll wait for the new one.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I might get rid of them.
The promo Dungeon Guide is hot.
She's hot. It is nice to have those too. They're nice. I've sold most of my like original stuff,
I've not.
And so
I did sell my Dungeon Guides like a million years ago.
Yeah,
because I only had 2.
The promos.
Yeah, it didn't really make too much sense. But I still have my hasties and my clumsies, and
yeah, I guess I still have those too.
I'm not gonna get rid of those.
So, anyways, Dungeon Guide's getting reprinted. Zephyr's getting reprinted. That one we've seen the art for, but we haven't seen the literal card, but it's Zephyr, so whatever. They announced this week, like we just mentioned, Weaponsmith and Fairy Whispers both getting reprinted in a video that you guys will see eventually, I really promise. When I talked to Sil about it, he said that they were going to be reprinting several... I don't want to use the word staples, but that might be the closest that we have. The way that he described it is cards that you think, if you're like a new player and you're getting into A and B and you're building Jin or Conming, cards that are staples in that you will play them in your deck, but not staples in the way that they are like worth a bunch of money, because he didn't want people to have to like go buy a 10-cent common on TCG Player from a set 5 sets ago, that they're going to have to play in their deck. So that's why we're seeing, I would say fairly ubiquitous cards like Fairy Whispers, Zephyr, even Weaponsmith saw a lot of play.
And it makes a lot of sense to reprint Weaponsmith in a warrior base set.
Yeah, lots of weapons, lots of assumingly weapons that you want to keep around longer. Right. So Weaponsmith does fit that bill. So I'm curious what else will be on that list. I think we've talked about it a little bit. Cards like Creative Shock and perhaps even stuff like Banner Knight. We'll see if they make their way back into the format.
Yeah.
But reprints aside, we have some new cards to talk about. Before we get to our Twitter campaign, there's one other one to talk about. That was revealed by our good friend Dan over at Main Deck as he was opening his SP2. I did not get to catch the stream. Hopefully it went well. I don't know if he opened any of those squigglies, but he did open a spoiler card that was given to him at the end of the stream. Yeah. So this card is Fang of Dragon's Breath, and it's worth talking about because it's a new thing that we haven't really seen. So it's a 1 reserve cost Fire Fantasia Warrior spell. It has Polearm Weapon Link, which works exactly the way that you would think. You link it to a weapon. If that bond is ever broken, you sacrifice it. Mm-hmm. Linked weapon gets +2 power. Jin bonus. Linked object has rest this, remove a durability counter from this object, deal 2 damage to target unit.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's I'm scared. Like, truly worried that these cards are like pretty insane. We saw Dragon's Dawn a while ago, that you guys probably are familiar with, but it's a 1 memory cost 2/3 sword. As an additional cost, you have to banish 3 fire cards from graveyard when you activate it. It has I believe it is Jin bonus as well on Dragon's Dawn. That is, when you attack with it, you deal yourself 2 damage. It gets +2 power, and on hit, draw a card. So the combination of that card and this card is pretty nuts.
Just class
bonus on Dragon's Dawn.
Yep.
This sort of gives us shades of, man, I play it in my deck. Hone by Fire.
Yes, it's like Hone by Fire, but reusable.
And way better.
Yeah.
It is Hone by Fire that gives you the ability, if you're Jin, assumingly, to remove durability counters to do more damage. It costs less, and like you said, yeah, it is permanent.
Right.
So it seems kind of insane to me. And I don't know if maybe there's something that we're missing, but this card is like really good.
You know what? Speaking of Weaponsmith, pairs pretty well with this card.
Yeah,
Weaponsmith says deal 2 damage to your opponent every turn.
Every turn, yeah. I mean, like people were playing Weaponsmith for the eventual value of casting like a Spirit Blade Dispersion.
Right.
And this just does that, like every turn. Like here it is. It deals 2 damage.
That's great.
It's insane. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All I know is that I'm gonna be gay bulging a lot.
Yeah, I am. That's tough. I believe it's Guy Bulg. Thank you.
Oh, is that how you said that?
I believe so. Yeah, it's not the meme. Hey, if you want to look at the spoilers, you can find them on Merlin's Marketplace. That's where we look at all of our spoilers. They're on the. You can find them in the news and articles section of Merlin's Marketplace. Shout out to you, Mitchell. But yeah, this card's really good.
Yeah.
Like and kind of insane. I don't know. Like
when they showed Jin's art originally, I was like, yeah, he looks like a guy I'd play.
Yeah,
and now
he looks like Lancer. Yeah.
Yeah, and now all the pole arms are coming out, and I'm just like, they're all really cool.
Yeah. I'm just a little bit worried, just a tad. Fire decks are scary, man, and there's been many a time that Grand Archive has been run by the aggro deck because everything being able to attack on their first turn is pretty crazy. And yeah, the combination of this, Dragon's Dawn, and cards like Rending Flames feels like maybe dangerous territory. But they said a while ago that AMB is a little bit simpler on the mechanical density. But we see pretty evidently from the cards that we've seen so far, it is not less powerful. It's just maybe simpler because some of these cards are nuts. Moving on to cards that are maybe medium nuts until we go back to talking about Jin, and we can do some speculation on Jin towards the end of the show. Our first spoiler card from the social media campaign is the common. It is a 4 reserve cost wind card called Razor Gale Calling Fantasia Cleric Spell Class Bonus. This card costs 2 less to activate. Whenever you activate a wind element card, deal 1 damage to target champion. How do you feel about this card, Steve?
I love this card. This card is sick, and buy your Vanitas staples now, because he's going to be cool.
I think it is sweet.
I think this card is great.
I don't think it's great, but I do think it's sweet.
No, I mean like great as in like not like this is probably going to be a meta deck, but I think this is definitely going to be a like you're gonna sit down and someone's gonna be playing the Razor Gale deck, and you're just gonna die to it, and you're gonna be like, damn,
it's sweet. Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be hopefully fit into some more niche strategies like Vanitas. I think at least currently it's really good for the Wind Rye Enlightenment counter deck.
Right. I just don't. So like I know that's been bouncing around. I just don't know if this card is worth playing as a 4-drop. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. That deck has always had the problem where it's really good at spinning wheels, but it has no way to kill you. Like when we were playing it, we were playing Conduit of the Mad Mage, which is just like this card, but so much worse.
Yeah.
So I think you probably just like established this early in the game, and
like turn.
There's like virtually no Fantasia removal, at least currently. Nor is there a reason to play Fantasia removal, at least currently. And so this like probably sticks around, and then you just grind them out with a single copy of Razor Gale Calling, but we'll see. It's a cool design. I like Spells Matter. In case you guys didn't know, I like Cleric and Mage because spells are cool. Yeah. So Spells Matter is neat, and the wind spells are like Fairy Whispers getting reprinted are usually very cheap and replace themselves. It's pretty good.
It's not even Spells Matter, right?
It's cards too.
Yeah, it's any card.
You can do the Sean Zhang special and Windmill Reclaim and get 2 damage off of it. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so it could be cool. I think it's probably a little bit too slow to be like a meta contender, but it is pretty cool. Who's next on the docket?
Next on the docket, we have a 4 reserve cost Fire Ally Tamer Beast Tiger, Lava Soul Tiger. It has Pride 3. Class bonus on enter, you may banish 2 fire element cards from your graveyard. If you do, Lava Soul Tiger loses Pride until end of turn. He is 5 power and 5 health.
Yeah.
This is Capricious Links, but bigger.
But bigger. Is that good? Five's a lot.
Pride 3 is not hard.
Well, that's what they say about Capricious Links. And then it sits there on the board for 4 turns until you're Pride 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to gauge Tamer cards, especially when we're in this world that we are now.
Right. I don't think
slimes are so good.
Exactly. I don't think this replaces any slime.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Art's
Maybe.
real cool. It's Big Tiger.
It's a big tiger.
I'd get that as
4's
a tattoo.
a lot. Yeah?
Yeah, right on the shoulder. Just his face.
You heard it here.
Look at that fiery
It's
face.
a tiger. Yeah, you know, Tamer stuff. Is this or I guess the other Tamer art that we've seen was the panda.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the panda yet.
Yeah.
They're just keeping us, you know.
We saw a horse, right?
Yeah.
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 That's also a tamer.
They're keeping us ready for the horse tribal. You know, this is like the tease. Like, here's some tigers, but what you're really waiting for
I'm waiting for ordinary
is
horse.
the horse
let me
tribal.
No, I didn't. Poro.
You want to address that
I
instead
did.
of just saying words that don't mean anything?
Poro asked if I had maxed rarity Tristan yet, and no, I haven't. But
He doesn't even play Tristan anymore.
I do play Tristan. What are you talking about? I played Tristan on Friday.
Likely story.
No, I lost to Merlin.
Likely story. All right, next on the list.
Yeah. We got Slipstream Vault,
She's hot.
which is a 2 reserve cost water action ranger skill reaction. Class bonus, this card costs 1 less to activate if it targets a unique ally. Target ally you control becomes distant. Negate all card activations targeting it. Fast speed. This card's nuts.
Yeah, I think I'm way hotter on this card than most people are. It's not super good right now. Obviously, we haven't seen the entire set that probably makes this card good. Because there's not a whole lot of like targeted removal right now.
Right.
And so card activations targeting something not particularly relevant at this point. But 2 things. A, when that is the case, this is insane. Feels sort of like a dive down, right? But at the very least, it's like a reposition with upside, right? So 1 cost, target unit becomes distant. Doesn't have floating, obviously, but has the upside that it can be very good, assumingly. In the mage matchups, this card was built for Dahlia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or whoever this girl is. Maybe this is a unique girl that we're looking at, but built for Dahlia for sure.
I also see this card as a answer to things like Stifling Trap.
Sure.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
You dungeon guide, they play Stifling Trap, you go, Slipstream. And
The
now,
stifling your stifling trap.
yeah.
And then they stifling trap your slipstream, and then you slipstream
But you
their
can't do
stifling
that.
trap, and then...
You can't do any of that.
Anyways.
But I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's good.
I think this card is very good. I think that's exactly where counter stuff should be, right? It's like a reaction to what your opponent's doing, not just like a pure counter.
Yeah. Yeah, and assumingly, being a mage set, I would think that we're going to get an increase in targeted spells that deal with allies, and this is obviously a reaction to that. Yeah, somebody in chat says good with Crimson Tier, which is true. If you can do that, you got to be doing some, I don't know, some Polcock nonsense.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is free if you. It costs 0.
It's free and it draws card if it targets Crimson Tier.
Yeah, Crimson Tier in a Polcock deck.
Pretty good.
Woo! Dahlia in a Polcock
good.
deck. This card costs nothing.
Could be cooking. Last but not least, before we get to the UR, which I assume will be a hot button topic, We have Mother, Sword Saint of Everflame, is a 4 reserve cost fire ally warrior human class bonus. Pay 2 reserve cost. Banish this from your graveyard. Target fire element weapon or ally gets +2 power until end of turn. She is a 3/2. Damn, she's hot, dude. And fine. This card's an SR, which is like kind of crazy, I think. I think it's pretty good, especially in fire decks that warrior fire decks that are leveraging cards like Hasty Messenger and Creative Shock. Like, assumingly they always have been. Maybe they'll get a little bit more warrior specific stuff of that nature. But another card that gives you the value out of your graveyard is good, and she is like very castable as a 4-cost 3/2. That, you know, when she dies, she gets you a little bit of value. So I think this card is fine, and we'll probably see some play. Does feel a little bit odd as an SR, though. Maybe it's just like a little bit too much text to put on a rare.
Yeah. It does pair very nicely with Dawn's Edge.
Dragonstone?
Dragonstone. That's it.
Theoretically.
Because on attack, you discard a fire card.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is that what that card does?
On attack, you may discard a fire element card and have Dragon's Dawn deal 2 unpreventable damage to your champion. If you do, this attack gets +2.
Wild.
So,
the more you know.
So there's a world, right? You discard that, and then you
can give your Dragonstone +2 because you're a psycho.
So then you give it +4.
Yeah, and then it's got a Fang of Dragon's Breath on it, and you're just like attacking for 65, and then you play Rending Flames, and they die. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. There's little combos, right?
But she's super hot.
She is, no pun intended.
Was the is the water one an SR as well? Because this is part of a cycle. Is their name the same? Right. Wait. The Sword Saint of Ever something, the water girl. She is literally your phone background.
I know
that
she
one.
Is, yeah.
You know.
I'm looking for the actual text though.
Not super important, but she is part of a cycle, so we will assumingly get a wind one as well, which is cool.
Where was she released?
I'm a big fan of card cycles. But yeah, I think this card's pretty good. I don't know if everyone else feels the same. I've seen pretty like medium reactions to this card.
Yeah.
But like we said earlier, it's been told to us at the forefront that these cards are going to be a little bit less complex, right? So it's just like a card with good numbers. Right. It gives you value out of your graveyard. It is an efficient body, a medium efficient body at a 3/2 for 4. And so I think that's what we're going to be expecting from A and B. Last.
Yeah, Sword Saint of Eveningtide.
Yeah, is she an SR?
She's a rare.
Interesting. Yeah, cycle. The red big sister gets the extra letter in her rarity.
And the green one's going to be the UR.
Ooh, could be cool. Or the common, or the uncommon. Maybe it goes down that way.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Our last card, our UR that we fought painstakingly for, is a mage card. No, it's not. I lied. It is yet another pole arm. So we're seeing a bit of a theme here where we currently have 2 URs from the set, both of which are Regalia pole arms for Jhin. This is Wind as opposed to Dragonstone, which we've talked about a little bit today, being the fire version. So this is Sundering Moon. It is a 0 memory cost Wind Regalia weapon warrior pole arm, and it has 2 pieces of Jhin bonus. Jhin bonus on enter. If you control 2 or more wind element allies, Sundering Moon gets +1 power until end of turn. Jhin bonus, pay 2 reserve. Return Sundering Moon to your material deck. Prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to target unit you control this turn. It has a base 1 power 2 durability. You first, Steven, because I think I have some controversial opinions about this card.
I think this might be a rare opportunity, or a rare time, that I also think this card's not very good. I think this card is okay, but I don't see it.
I think that's probably where we get a little bit of an interesting thing to talk about, especially in this pre-spoiler season time that we are unfortunately time trapped in for the next 22 days. Jesus. So I was pretty underwhelmed by this card. Not to say that it's a bad card. I think it is, in fact, a very good card, and something akin to like Crystallian Longsword, or like slightly better than Zephyr's Edge, right? Like, these aren't bad cards, and this card is distinctly very playable. However, I think it being at UR feels a little bit strange, and especially so compared to its ancillary that we have in Dragonstone, which I think is an overtly very powerful card. However, it's very important that we don't put ourselves into a Cabin situation and say that this is a 2 out of 5. He had more information than we did, so, you know, hi Cabin. We don't know what Jin does. And so I think that this card is like probably way better with context, and I don't think that they printed it at UR for no reason.
Correct.
But there's a couple of interesting things to sort of dissect about Sundering Moon. Art's gorgeous, by the way. Start with that. My lord.
Yeah. No,
These full art fucking.
I will say something controversial, but I have the strength to do it. I think this is better than Dragon's Dawn.
The art, yeah, I think the art's insane on this card.
Yeah.
It's
This in
nuts.
foil is going to
It's gonna go
slap.
crazy, dude.
Yeah.
It looks so good. So there's two things that we can maybe establish here. And so we're gonna do lots of maybes. And I know you love it. I know you love when we make predictions that we are always right about, by the way. So make sure to take this, clip it out. Sundering Moon. Obviously, wants you to play in a Wind Allies deck. That's what this first line of text does. Sort of similar to Dragon's Dawn. Both cards that are very, very good if leveraged early in the game. Both the effects on Sundering Moon and Dragon's Dawn we've talked about a million times. So that might lean Jin towards a more aggressive strategy. That is sort of how Lorraine ended, right? Like, Lorraine tends to be a more aggressive strategy, but not necessarily what her design reflects. Her design feels very reactive in the, like, level 2 forward. Like, she gets +2, which is good for an aggressive strategy, but she wants you to kill allies, right? So it's like, not exactly an aggro deck. She wants you to clear the board so that you get some value. Level 3, she wants you to have drawn out the game long enough that you can rebuy your swords, or that you have enough swords in your banishment that she gets a real buff off of Crux Knight, right? Perhaps Jin is a bit more slanted towards that aggressive strategy. Notably, these two very powerful URs are, neither of them are Exia.
Mm-hmm.
So assumingly he's going to be able to leverage these cards earlier in the game. So I think that that's interesting. They both also sort of point to him being more of an allies deck, where he wants to leverage his weapons alongside his allies to either clear the board or kill you. 2, it has this pseudo-powerful effect to return Sundering Moon to your material deck to prevent the next 1 damage. That would be able to target you control. Still fits into that sort of allies theme. This gives you favorable wins on the stick all the time. It feels very breaking scales to me for any of my Flesh and Blood gamers out there, where it's always on the board and they always have to worry about it. And it's not like particularly a huge deal, right? But it's like you would play the game differently if your opponent showed you a face-up favorable wins all the time. And that's basically what this is. It's like, oh, you want to kill my Academy guide or whatever. It does indeed have 4 life, and you will have to deal with that. But I think what I have predicted about Jin, it's very loose. So we make our very loose predictions so that we are eventually right. That is, of course, how it goes. I think that Jin will be somewhere in the Spirit Blade Ascension realm, but balanced. I would be shocked if Jin, even at his lower levels, doesn't have a way to break timing restrictions for materializing polearms. I think there's a way that they can do that is balanced. It's obviously not Spirit Blade Ascension. Spirit Blade Ascension notably ignoring costs and ignoring color restrictions is kind of cursed. But I think if you allow Jin to do some materializing of polearms outside of his materialized step, that does give cards like this a lot more power. It does make Sundering Moon way scarier because it doesn't take up your materialized step. So if you can somehow generate this during your main phase, you get to leverage that on-enter ability because this is an on-enter ability until end of turn. So Sundering Moon is not a Crystallian Longsword. It doesn't attack for 2 as long as it's around. It's only the turn that it comes in. And you are less punished by activating this Favorable Winds type ability because you know it's not going to take up your entire materialize the next turn. I also think that is why Dragon's Dawn is worded the way that it is. As an additional cost, you have to banish 3 fire cards. That card would obviously be absurd if you get to leverage it every turn by bringing it back, using all of its durability, whatever. And so I think that's why it has that additional cost to sort of leverage its power in the early game. If Jin level 1 allows you to get a sword, or a polearm in this case, sort of like Lorraine does, if you want to get that Dragon's Dawn, it does have a real cost attached to it. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk about this guy.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I kind of agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Polearms are cool.
Yeah.
I
had a thought that maybe like somewhere in his lineage that maybe he does something that we used to see a lot and allows him to untap and attack again, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, that would be really cool too.
Just like the way we've seen both of these cards, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen time and time again, right? Obviously, Grand Archive's a new game, and the development team is improving their craft as the game continues forward, and so I do get a feeling, at least from the few cards that we've seen so far, that that Jin is going to be what Lorraine was sort of meant to be, a sort of like fixed, more balanced version of Lorraine. Not to say that Lorraine is like broken or whatever, but
right.
There are some things that I think were unintended consequences of her design that I think now that they're a little bit more experienced, they can clean up. And we obviously do see them following that sort of weapon-based strategy. Seems to be the warrior identity.
Yeah.
And so I would be surprised to see, or not surprised to see, some ancillaries of Lorraine cards being brought over to Mr. Man Jin. I think that you were right a couple of weeks ago when we talked about Silidar mentioning that there's a card in A&B that is a ancillary to a banned card. And I really do think that it might be Sword of Avarice. I think we might get Pole of Avarice. And again, if it is in a shell that is a little bit more balanced, where he can materialize it not using his material step, but he does have to pay associated costs and pay elemental requirements, I think that card is a lot more balanced, but still very strong.
Right.
So,
and if that does exist, it's definitely the Exio.
Yeah. So we get another UR. It's the Exia polearm, and
do you think we'll have?
Draws 2 cards.
Do you think we'll have a water UR as well? Because the first 2 polearms we've seen, the Wind and Fire, are both URs.
Yeah. Vamp for me. I think that's pretty reasonable.
So, like,
but I want to check the product sheet to see how many URs are.
Because at that point, like, if there is a water UR polearm, what do you think it will do?
You're supposed to vamp for me now.
Okay. I'm just asking.
What do you think it's gonna do, Steven?
I'm just asking. I'm trying to start this conversation. I don't know, man. Maybe that is the Avarice one. Maybe that is your draw.
Water.
Yeah.
It's a little early, right?
Or maybe it's the mill. Mills you some.
Yeah, I think it probably would have that like water cards in graveyard sort of sub theme. That seems to be the waterway. They're trying to lean into that mill thing. So
yeah.
There are 8 URs in Mortal Ambition. So I think we're getting closer to me giving up the ghost on the there are more champions bit.
Yeah.
That there might not be more champions. I don't know. But it would be pretty clean, assuming that it is literally just Kongming and Jin. And maybe some lineage breaks. I assume there'll be some lineage breaks.
4 of each.
Yeah, they'll get 4 of each. So it would be all the sick, full art pole arms would be very cool for Jin, and it'd be one of each basic element and then an Exia one.
And then one of each element for Kongming.
Yeah, whatever the fuck she gets.
Also Terra.
We have no idea
Scroll
what she does.
cases, dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
Scroll cases. Do you see all the scrolls around her?
Yeah. She loves words.
Yeah,
and
man.
Shit. I don't know. God knows about that one. We're not even going to touch that.
We should, whatever she does, she spins with purpose.
She spins with purpose. I think she's clip this. They're all they're all very blanket statements. It's like saying I can predict the lottery, and it's like someone will win and they will have 10 numbers.
Yeah,
you know,
they'll have a bunch of money.
Those numbers will be between the legal numbers that you can submit to the lottery. Whoa, he's crazy. I think she'll be a Merlin ramping deck. It really feels like they're sort of ALC forward. They're sort of honing in on what they want champion design to look like, and I think a lot of the earlier designs, DOA, FTC, had some growing pains, being that the game was so much smaller, so they had to be a little bit more evergreen. They had to do more things and play multiple roles. Yeah. And it feels like ALC forward, they've sort of honed in on champions having their own unique identity. Even like, we look at Slime, Sylvie, we look at Tristan, we look at Diana, Arisana. They're all like, they fit within their class, but they're doing one specific thing in it, right? Like Arisana does potions and gathering, which is not necessarily what all clerics do. It's just what Ari does. Diana is gun-based and does bullets and guns, and obviously if we're in a setting that does not have bullets and guns, the other rangers aren't all going to be gun bullet-based, right? Stuff like that. And so I sort of think that Kongming is going to be like a Merlin ancillary, sort of similar to what I said about Lorraine, like sort of Merlin without the growing pains, in that she has a ramping sort of design where you get some sort of resource or counters or something that as you do things throughout the game ramps up, and then once you do enough of those things, you can leverage that to win the game. I think it would be really cool if it was like, think of like the way that Merlin gets level counters, and it's like, I don't know, like the wisdom counters or something. That every time you cast a spell, she gets a wisdom counter, and then as you cast more spells, she ramps up. I think that would be really cool.
You don't think maybe it would be enlightenment counters?
Yeah, maybe. I would like it to be more of a permanent resource. I think that there's some difficult game design in the enlightenment counters. Being able to draw cards means that like as a player, it's cool to have that decision, right? Where it's like, if you assume that you always have that terrible Regalia in play, whatever it is, the one that says for every 3 enlightenment counters you get +1 level. If we assume that you always have that in play, there's like an interesting choice as a mage player. Like, should I spend these to draw cards? Should I keep them for my level? That's cool, but it is problematic to design heroes that generate that much enlightenment counters, because then you create Rai, right? Not to say that Rai currently is like a balance issue, but that is a deck that very much has been and can be a balance issue if you give too much card draw to a champion. So I would prefer if, like, maybe she does some enlightenment counter stuff, but I would prefer if her mechanic is something separate. Not to say that I want more counters to track, but like,
I want her mechanic to be the preserve mechanic, because that exists in Terra and we haven't seen it be explored at all.
I think she'll get a little bit, but like, she's not going to be a preserve deck until level 3, right?
Right.
So,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
I want her preserve, like I want her Terra cards to be preserve based.
Yeah, I think it's way more likely that she's not like based around preserve, but they just print cards with that mechanic on it because that mechanic is very good,
Right.
Like they give her some sort of, like, a single advantage engine card is insane. Like, already Terrasite is an insane advantage engine, just gives you a GCR every turn, right? So imagine if they give her like a freezing hail with preserve, and you just like get a 2 damage burn spell every turn of the game. It's like pretty crazy. So they do have to be like careful with preserve because it is very good. But I agree. I think that they'll hopefully lean into it a little bit. But that is the only thing that I can glean from her spinning with purpose is some sort of ramping mechanic, I think. But we'll see. In
23 days.
22 days. 22 days. Please, dear God, help me.
It's like just Jin. They just show us Jin.
Help me, please. I would. I know they like, it's here on the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's a kind of an act, right? Like, you guys get that a lot of the time on the show we are hyperbolic. And, I try to make a big deal out of things that are less of a big deal because it's good to entertain you folks. But holy shit, would I be tilted? I would be so mad.
It's like, here's the entire Jin line.
Oh my God.
Kong Ming to be revealed on release.
Be molding. They'd be like, yeah, we'll see you in Singapore. And I'd be like, God, please,
I just come in, just like our little studio back here, just a mess because Cam went on a rampage.
Yeah.
Surely we get at least level 1.
Give me something, dude. Give me some mage cards, man. It's so fun to speculate, and we like based basically this whole episode on speculating on what Jin does because we have some Jin cards, but we don't know.
Right.
But like, are they all like Kongming specific mechanics? Is that what it is? Like, you can't show us a mage card because it has some sort of like Kongming text on it.
There's like a lot of Astro cards.
Give her a spin counter, like yeah.
Oh man.
But like, they showed us the Astro cards before we saw Arizona, right? Like, we saw Star Calling before we had its text.
Right, that's true.
Right? Am I crazy? I think we did.
No, we did, because we were all wondering what Star Calling.
Yeah, we had a card with Star Calling on it, and we were like, "What does this do?" There's no reminder
was it
text.
Scry the Stars?
Let's talk about it.
You
know? Yeah. Come on, guys. You're torturing me.
We're gonna get to the meat of this episode now.
That wasn't it?
No. That was the prelude.
What's the meat?
The meat. We're talking about horses, guys.
Oh, true.
We're horse girls.
We have 3 whole horses now.
Yeah, we have 2 horses.
No. You're smoking crack.
Which horses?
Well, so we have the one that they showed us at Chicago, whatever he's called. Something Steed.
Yeah.
Something Steed. We have Ordinary Horse, which we don't
know what that one is.
But it is obviously a horse.
Yeah, we have that one.
And then we have Trusty Steed, of course.
Which is like a 15-15, right?
Yeah, Trusty Steed is insanely broken.
It's like a 30-30 for 2.
If you guys haven't picked up your SP1 box topper Trusty Steeds, you should regret it because that card is about to be $50.
Yeah.
Because Trusty Steed is so broken.
Yep. But yeah, do you think Horsemanship the deck is going to be a deck?
I didn't. I like very much read this as a meme mechanic. It is like cool and it's flavorful, and you need those things, right? You need flavorful stuff, especially with like how deep they're going into the lore now going forward since Bell's joined the team. So I think a question is a really cool keyword. I assumed that it would suck though. It's like really kind of hard to accomplish. I don't ever like cards that require another specific card in this case, to be good.
Yeah.
But then Sil made that tweet about bringing the horse masks to where? To Singapore? Or somewhere. Toronto, because it'll be legal for that.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe there really is a horse deck. And maybe he's, like, telling us. He's like, bring your horse masks because a lot of people will be playing horses.
It's going to be real cringe when 300 people are trying to play games in horse masks.
In horse masks. Shaking their heads around. Yeah, so I don't know. I was really down on the horses until I wasn't. So I think sleeper broken. Go buy your Trusty Steeds.
Yeah, I can't wait till we get
or sell them to me.
Till we get a unique horse red mane. Very sick.
Oh, would be cool. Yeah,
because warring or 3 Kingdoms period. That's Lubu. Lubu has a horse.
A horse. Yeah, that'd be cool.
And then we get Lubu because he's a polearm fighter.
I mean, we got a lot of that. When we went to Cambria, right? Like a lot of those characters were remade into Grand Archive characters.
Mordred
we got like
Merlin.
the Knights of the Round, and we got Merlin, and Nimue, the Lady of the Lake, and all that stuff.
And even in FTC and stuff, yeah.
So, yeah, I think it would be cool to get Lubu. I can, pull the Lubu out of the case and put it into my deck and be like, this is my Lubu. Yeah, that'd be cool. I like horses.
Yeah.
They're all right.
I like turtles.
I like turtles. Yeah. All right. Jesus. We're too old. We're too old. Those are two
Get us off the internet.
30-year-old men talking about memes from 20 years ago. Hey, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. We will be back next week, Steven?
Next week?
Yeah. That was a confirmation. This is how we confirm if we're doing the podcast next week.
No, usually it's Thursday night. I say, hey, I'm not going to make it.
He would never. He loves you, and we will be back next week. If you guys have things that you want us to talk about on the show, because God knows it's going to be a tough couple of weeks for the Lineage Break boys, let us know. We're happy to talk about whatever you want. Windmill Engineers love soup. Yeah, that's a great one. True. They do love soup. If you want to catch the show, you can catch us here every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Asterisk. If you want to catch the show from last week, you can't because I refused to edit them. I put up one this week that's like 2-3 weeks old.
Yep.
I'm working on it. Kind of, I promise. They'll all be up soon. And then we'll be caught up, and then it'll be nice and easy.
Yep.
But yeah, we upload this on YouTube. You can find them here if you're watching YouTube now. Okay, we will see you next week. Thank you guys for watching. Woo.
Have a good one, guys. Woo.